Is the camera too close? I feel like the camera's too close. Just move the whole thing back a little bit. The Evil Within 2. Where to even begin? You can watch my half-assed, cringy couple of parts of the Let's Play. I did cut a lot of it out. There was a moment when I decided, I'm not going to edit this, I'm just going to throw it up. I didn't enjoy it. And that's incredibly disappointing. Because, once again, reviewers are like, oh, it's the best thing ever. I don't like not enjoying games. Especially when I spend $60 on them and can only get like 37 back. So that was disappointing. I don't know. The Evil Within 2, for me at least, is not fun. I wasn't having a good time. And I think that all boils down again to the design. With the first Evil Within, you had levels, you had very set, deliberately designed set pieces, you had memorable moments, and overall, you know, people could complain, well, it's just a bunch of corridors. Well, I don't mind the corridors. Linearity is not a bad thing. Linearity is a game design mechanic. And with the Evil Within 2, it seems like they threw a lot of that out of the window to just put you in this open area. And I don't know how much of that open area there was. I don't know how much more there was to run around in. I don't know if there's multiple hub areas like, say, The Witcher or what. But I just didn't enjoy it. I don't like how a lot of games try to go this open world route. And I don't mind open world. I like games like Fallout. I like, you know, exploration. I like all that. But when I'm paying for a horror experience, I want something that's a little bit more deliberately designed. And the Evil Within 2 doesn't feel like that. It could be very well that, you know, Shinji Mikami wasn't in the lead directorial role of this one. And, you know, whether you like him or not, the dude is the guy who helped bring us things like Resident Evil. He's the guy that reimagined the series and brought us Resident Evil 4, which everyone jerks their dicks off over. And I thought the Evil Within 1, I thought the only really big problem with it was that a lot of the narrative bits, the story bits, were locked behind DLC paywalls. I don't know the story of the Evil Within 2. But, you know, when I started it up, I was like, there's a huge problem here because Sebastian knows he's in STEM, or he should know he's in STEM. He acted like a dunce most of the time. What the hell is this? It's the warped Matrix nightmare. You know where you are. You know what's happening. Why are you surprised by some of this stuff? And it feels like overall the game is shoddy. That's how I feel about it. I'm really disappointed in this purchase. For those of you wondering, I've already taken it back. I did have Nathan of the Devil Dog crew request that I try to continue with a Let's Play, and I basically offered him, I'm like, hey, when you're done with your copy, send it my way, and I'll do a Let's Play in your honor. Probably won't happen. Not going to worry about it. When it comes down to it, though, I've already taken the game back, and I got a few other things. I got Resident Evil Revelations 1 for the PS4, which means eventually I will do more Resident Evil stuff. I do intend to do more Resident Evil stuff. But the Evil Within 2 kind of fucking sucks. And I think it all boils down to the design. I really, really enjoyed the first one. A lot. The thing with the first one, though, again, is that you didn't know you were in STEM. Sebastian just assumed, I guess, that either he was going crazy or it was a supernatural world-ending event. And before I got to the end and realized you were in the Nightmare Matrix, that's what I assumed it was too. Seeing the world shattered, seeing the monsters, seeing the powers of Ruvik, I assumed, okay, this is some malevolent magical force. There were hints here and there. For instance, you saw quite a few times the giant brain, and you saw the STEM machines with the people connected to it, and you had moments like in the one room where you had to fight the monsters and yank the cords out of the back of their heads. But The Evil Within 2, it just kind of feels like they fucked up on the premise. And I understand that, you know, some horror situations work out. For instance, when you take a sequel like, say, Dead Space 2, Isaac Clarke has already experienced the necromorphs firsthand. With Dead Space 2, he's like, oh shit, I know what's going on. He's a little bit better prepared for it, but there's also new surprises. You're in a new location, and there's new things being revealed to him, like by the end when he learns what convergence is. And with The Evil Within 2, I feel like maybe they could have designed it a little bit better. Now, I'm not a game developer, but if I were going to make a sequel to The Evil Within, obviously, the player knows, and at some point Sebastian knows, they're in STEM. So, instead of this bullshit intro, where Sebastian is liquored up once again, instead of this where Kidman and her G-men just kind of come to you and tell you things, instead of that, I would have preferred it be a situation where Sebastian didn't know he had been kidnapped. Maybe he got snuck up upon and injected with that serum and knocked out, and maybe he woke up in STEM. But he doesn't know he's in STEM yet. Imagine like he just wakes up, he finds that walkie-talkie thing, and Kidman starts talking to him, and he's like, what the fuck, I haven't seen you in forever, you betrayed me, and all that shit. And maybe he wandered around Union for a bit with no monsters. Introduce me to the environment, or a section of the environment, and let me wander around and be like, where is everyone? What's happening? What's going on? Then introduce him to a monster, to one of those mutated humans. And when he fights it, he's like, shit, am I back in STEM? Kidman, what did you do? And at that moment, you could have Kidman reveal to him, yeah, you're in STEM, and so is your daughter. And he'd be like, no, not possible, she died in the fire. And then you could explain these things to him, and it would have, to me at least, felt like a better intro to the game than just be like, hey, we're going to put you back in the Matrix. Okay. I didn't like that. I didn't feel that that was very adequately designed. And I would have felt it would have been a bigger surprise for Sebastian at least. Sorry, I'm trying to fight a yawn over here. I felt it would have been a bigger surprise for Sebastian at least. The player knows you're going to wind up in STEM, but for Sebastian to be like, oh shit, I'm back in STEM. And to have it confirmed when he sees a monster or sees the Union and all its dilapidation and things like that. But again, I'm not a game designer, and this is what someone thought would be a decent intro. Now, I don't know what good bits are in the rest of this game. People are always saying, I'm sorry, I tried to fight the yawn. People are always saying, well, Brett, you got to stick with it because it gets really good, you know, maybe 2 or 3 hours in. And that has always bothered me. Because if a game gets good 2 or 3 hours in, that just means that the first part of it's a fucking slog. And I don't know why the first half has to be a slog. Why does it have to get good a few hours in? Why can't it be good from the beginning? People always make this argument, they make this excuse. Well, you gotta stick with it, Brett, it gets better. And I'm just like, why can't it be good throughout? Most of the games that I've played, most of the games that I enjoy, I never have told anybody, oh man, yeah, it gets good, you know, a few hours in. I always tell them, well, there's a tutorial, the intro's a little slow, but it picks up. I don't ever say, oh yeah, you need to play through boring bullshit for a few hours before you get to the good stuff. That's not appealing to anyone. Started up a game with the intent of, oh, I'm going to be bored for a few hours, but eventually it's going to be good. Every single game I've played has just been good. Every game that I've played has been fun. At least the ones I enjoy, of course. Every game I've played has been fun. When I start the game, I'm having fun. I'm having intrigue. I'm having story bits. I like characters. I like action. And as I play, it just gets better. I would never tell somebody, hey, you should totally play Final Fantasy 12, but it only gets good a few hours in. No, I'll tell them, hey, you should play Final Fantasy 12. And once you get past the little intro sequence that teaches you everything, it's going to be fucking fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to be exploring the world. You're going to be interacting with characters. You're going to be fighting ROUSs. You're going to have a lot of fun. That's how I tell people the game is. I don't say, oh yeah, you know, it's really boring until you get to fucking generic, random, arbitrary spot in game where it's actually fun. No, I don't tell them that. You know, most of the games it's just the intro. I took the Evil Within 2 back, and I got a few different games, but I bought Titanfall 2. I've heard a lot of good things about Titanfall 2. And once I got past the intro, which was really fucking boring, it was the only part of that demo I played. Once I got past the intro and got into the actual game and was running around shooting guys, it's fun. Having a good time. Collecting batteries for the robot dude and fighting bad guys and fighting wildlife, and it's actually fun. It's enjoyable. You know? I get games and I expect them to entertain me. This is a medium for entertainment. You wouldn't sit and watch a movie and be like, wow, this is boring. I guess I'll keep watching. Maybe it gets better later. I've never done that. I've had movies that I watched and I was not invested in. I stopped watching. Why with the yawns? I remember one movie that I wanted to watch was called Sicario. If you've seen this movie, you may or may not have enjoyed it. It's about drug cartels and either FBI or DEA, whatever, agents. And I was bored. I watched about 30 to 40 minutes of the movie and I was like, I'm not enjoying this. And I stopped watching it. You know, I watch some movies and I might check out. You know, I've been to the movies before, like in the actual theater, and I've not enjoyed a movie, but if I'm with my friends, I just check out and I wait for it to be over. It's a situation where I want to be entertained, and I want to be entertained throughout. I want my dollar value to go towards something that's going to entertain me and entice me. With The Evil Within 1, I had a lot of fucking fun. I played through it, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It had its problems. Yeah, you missed shots, but it never felt like the enemies were cheetahs running at you. That's another thing. The enemies are way faster in The Evil Within 2. And you don't have the means to get away. At that last moment, when, if you watch the videos, I was just trying to get to the farthest waypoint, and I got butt fucked on the side of that hill by like 3 enemies. At that point, you'll notice in the video, like, I can't get away. And at that moment, the only thing that went through my head was I desperately wished that the Evil Within had a dodge button, kind of like Gears of War, so I could dodge away. And it doesn't. And the only thing that it has that I don't know if it ever showed up in the videos was a quick turn where I could run away. And I only knew about that because of tips and tricks I saw on YouTube. And it also comes down to another thing I have trouble with The Evil Within is the controls. Let's talk about the controls. The Evil Within 2 has improvements over the first game. For instance, you can aim while you're crouching. Great. Love it. But there's also a lot of other stupid things. For instance, why does the game need a cover system at all? Does it turn into a third-person shooter later? Please let me know if you know. But I would have preferred, instead of a cover system, they gave me a fucking dodge button. Something to allow me to quickly roll away from combat. And I know there's going to be stupid people out there that are like, but then it'll play too much like a shooter. It's already a shooter. It's a third-person shooter survival horror game. And there's also people out there, but if you have too much control, it's not going to be scary. Those people die in a fucking fire. There seems to be this lunatic fringe of individuals out there that think the only way a game can be frightening is if you have, like, elephantitis in one of your legs and can't get away from things. That's not fun. That's infuriating. There's nothing wrong with having good controls in a game. If Sebastian was capable of dodge rolling away instead of just quick turning and hobbling his ass in the other direction, if he was capable of running for longer than 5 seconds, which it does last longer than 5 seconds this time, thankfully, if he was capable of being decent at combat and, you know, athleticism and all that at the beginning, then maybe it would have been a lot more enjoyable. And I know there's some people going, but Brett, the upgrade system. I'll get to that in a minute. But the thing that bothers me is the control. I've played a lot of really good horror games with a lot of really good controls. Again, Dead Space 2 comes to mind. I think Dead Space 2 played just fine. And I never had, obviously I never had a dodge button or anything, but it always felt really good to control and really good to play. And yeah, Dead Space 3 did have a dodge button, and it came in handy with some of those bosses. But when it comes down to it, control is extremely important. We're not in the 90s anymore. I expect my games to play just as good as they look. And I've been annoyed for a while now with this bullshit where it's like the only thing we keep improving with video games is the graphics. That's why my fucking PS4 chugged while I was playing The Evil Within 2. Because at some point someone somewhere decided, let's fuck with the engine instead of fucking with the gameplay. That's a big problem for me. I felt that the game didn't control great. Hell, most of the fucking Let's Play I was bitching about the sensitivity of the camera. Do you know how often I had to bitch about the sensitivity of Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3, or, Fear, or any of those games? I never had to worry about the sensitivity because it felt right. Something about The Evil Within 2 felt off, and I can only imagine it was either due to intentional design or that upgrade system. So let's talk about the upgrade system. I didn't get really invested into it. There's obviously two ways to upgrade. You can use the gel to upgrade Sebastian. You can use weapon parts and whatnot to upgrade his equipment. Fine. Fantastic. Don't mind it at all. But there are certain things that are in there that I don't particularly care for. For instance, weapon sway. Sebastian is a police officer. He's been a police officer for a long time. And yeah, I know, he's been hitting the booze pretty hard. But most police officers I know have pretty decent aim. I should be able to line up a shot and take the shot without missing entirely. And it seems like most of the time I couldn't. Until I turned the aim assist on, which didn't even save me in the end, you all saw. I get so irritated with games that think the only way that things can be scary is if your dude's like, it's so scary. No, alright? In a situation like that, you want to be on point. And if you're not on point, you're going to have a bad time. Yes, the monsters are intimidating. Yes, there's a bunch of them. I think the best part of The Evil Within 2 that actually genuinely surprised me was I expected there to be at least one monster in that truck. And then I opened it up and there's like fucking 4 of them. And I'm frantically trying to get to my explosive bolts. And I did save myself there, but still, I feel that the combat, the controls, the upgrade system, all of it feels a little bit gimped to me. It feels a little bit less than it should be for a sequel. Again, going back to Dead Space 2, and I'm sure somebody somewhere is annoyed that I keep comparing, but it's just one of the most appropriate comparisons I can think of right now. In Dead Space 2, they really tweaked the ever-loving shit out of it. Dead Space 1 did not have a sensitivity control. You had the aim you had, and that was it. You could not tweak that shit. I don't know why, but you couldn't. And in Dead Space 2, they allowed you to, and I tweaked it, and it felt perfect. I never had problems lining up a shot. The problem with me is I shouldn't be scared, or I shouldn't be annoyed or infuriated or whatever. I shouldn't have a problem aiming and shooting. I should have a problem with the way they design the AI and the way the creatures move. For instance, instead of giving the monsters super cheetah speed and having them sprint straight at me, what if they moved in unusual ways? Instead of just sprinting right at me, where I have to aim and then, oh no, they've moved outside the reticule, so my gun is now just going to shoot wherever, instead of what I would do if I were in that real situation and put it to their fucking chest. Instead of having them sprint, have them move unnaturally. I'm not saying make them move like normal, slow, shambling zombie. No, I'm saying have them move unnaturally. Have them, juke and jive a little bit. And instead of me going, oh, he's just too fast and he's moved, now it's a situation of, oh, he's moving, and I need to keep on point. And maybe I could pop him a few times, and he recoils, or he recoils forward, or he falls on the ground and starts crawling, or anything like that. Instead of, oh, he's just going to cheetah sprint at me. That's the kind of thing that annoys me, and it irritates me because from a gameplay development, like it doesn't feel scary just to have things sprint at you. It can be intimidating, it can be frightening, but I've seen things sprint at me for years in video games, and at this point it's not scary, it's frustrating. And I don't want to play just another game with just generic enemies that run at you. I've played that in a lot of different games. We've got that kind of shit in zombie games galore. I mean, for instance, fucking Left 4 Dead. The enemies in this game are shit. I like playing this game, but all they do is sprint at you. That's all they do. They sprint at you and punch you. That's not scary. That's not even why I play Left 4 Dead. I play Left 4 Dead for co-op fun, but still, it screams lazy development to me when the enemies in this just move the way they move instead of moving in a creepy way. And I'm sure there's monsters later on that move in creepy ways. I'm sure there's scary little critters, whatever. But the basic enemies that you're going to run into repeatedly need to have a certain way of moving and a certain way of acting. For instance, when I played The Evil Within 1, I'd shoot an enemy and it would recoil appropriately. And occasionally they would sprint at you, but that wasn't what they did all the time. So when they did sprint at you, it was surprising. So, again, the open world. I don't know how much of this world I explored, and I don't know how much more there is to explore. But I fucking hate this game design. I fucking hate it. And I wish that developers would stop doing it. There's nothing for me that kills horror and tension more than somebody plopping me in an environment and saying, go explore. It's just a city with monsters littered throughout, but you go explore. And I know there's going to be people out there that want to complain, well, Brett, don't you love Silent Hill? I do love Silent Hill. But you see, Silent Hill is a completely different type of genre from what we have with The Evil Within. Silent Hill does have the open town, but you see, the game itself was very deliberately done. For instance, when you're roaming around the open town, take Silent Hill 1 for example. I know Silent Hill 1 like the back of my cock, okay? When you get first dropped into Silent Hill 1 and you step outside the diner, I know exactly where to go to get all 3 keys. I know exactly where to go to get to the house, to get to the doghouse, to get to everything. But aside from a few streets, you got a few main streets and a few alleyways, everything's blocked off. You have very deliberate pathways leading you, funneling you towards your objective. With The Evil Within 2, games like Metal Gear Solid 5, you don't have this same type of situation. You have just open spaces and little waypoint markers that you can place. I don't find that entertaining. I especially don't find it entertaining being roamed around a place and having like infinitely respawning enemies. That kind of shit pisses me off. I feel like it's a war of arbitration. It's like, oh, I could kill them, but they'll just be more spawn later, so why not just sneak or run past them? And, I was trying to do that in the beginning, trying to have a real Let's Play. But after a while, I just got frustrated, made a whole bunch of ammo, and started using auto-aim and popping heads, because it was just quicker. And it really irritated me that the town itself is just uninteresting to me. The enemies littered throughout it, the items you can find throughout it, yeah, okay. I don't know if there's any microtransactions in The Evil Within 2, but I'm just going to assume there might be. But it all feels unfocused. I don't like running back and forth. If I'm playing a game like Fallout, I expect to run back and forth. You know what I do in Fallout? I build my settlement, I go out, I kill raiders, I bring the equipment back, I take the equipment to Diamond City, I sell all the equipment, I bring the caps back, I build some more of my settlement. I do that shit over and over and over and over and over. Because that's the experience I expect in Fallout. It's what I used to do in Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, I'd go out, kill some raiders, come back to Megaton, store what I wanted in my house, and sell the rest of it. I do that shit over and over and over. It doesn't bother me in Fallout. However, in The Evil Within, I want to experience a different type of gameplay scenario. I want to be led through I hate to say this, I want to be led through a haunted house ride where I have to fight monsters, solve puzzles, go through fucked up imagery, fight bosses, and throughout all that I can find my upgrade stuff, I can upgrade my character, I can do all that. But I don't like the idea of turning The Evil Within into Grand Theft Auto Lite with a little safe house that has my shit and has a character. Really don't like the characters, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I just don't like this new game design. I didn't mind in the first one where I had a safe room that I could go and visit between mirrors and stuff like that and upgrade my character. That was fine. But when I left that, I went right back to the game and went right back to making progress. My entire Let's Play is me just wandering around Union. I made no fucking progress whatsoever. I found a shotgun, which is nice, but I made no progress whatsoever. That's very disappointing to me as a gamer. To have almost 2.5 hours, no progress. That's dog shit. As for those characters, holy shit. I had seen this in reviews about the dialogue, and I didn't want to believe it, but Jesus fuck. The dialogue is terrible. Do you know one way to ruin horror? Let's take a look back at Resident Evil 1, and the best way to ruin horror is bad fucking dialogue. Okay, so, these Mobius agents, I only found one of them. I didn't find any others. I don't want to find any others. I hope they're all fucking dead. Because Jesus talking to them is the most boring shit in my entire life. It was boring. It wasn't intriguing. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't scary. The only thing that I got out of it was a few side quests that wasted more of my fucking time. Although I did find a shotgun, so that's okay. Overall, fuck that entire gameplay mechanic. I liked it better when Sebastian was just wandering alone. And of course, he'd run into Joseph and a few other characters throughout, but most of the time you were alone. Because what's really scary with horror games? Isolation. If I can just roam into a safe house and have somebody there, it's comforting and I'm not scared anymore. I don't feel frightened. I especially don't feel frightened because Sebastian is basically, you know, Papa Bear sending a stem to save everybody, but still. I hate these other characters. I hate them a lot. The dialogue is just god-awful. And I've played a lot of video games that have a lot of good dialogue. For instance, you know, you've got the Mass Effect series, you've got the Witcher series, you've got, I guess a lot of the early Fallouts have really good dialogue. I've played games that have really good back and forth between characters. And the back and forth between Sebastian and these guys is wooden. Really wooden. Fucking hate it. But overall, I've been rambling for a little while, and I just didn't like The Evil Within 2. There is a possibility that I'll get it again, or someone will send it to me, and I will try to resume the Let's Play. Of course someone calls me. Fuck off. There is a chance I will try to resume the Let's Play. But as for now, I'm just not a fan of The Evil Within 2. I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to be depressed about it. But yeah, don't fucking like it. I hope those of you out there that have been playing it, I have a friend who's playing it. I'm sure some of my subscribers got it. Some of you decided you weren't going to get it based on what I said. If you are playing it, if you do have it, I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, let me know some of the good things about it so that maybe I will get intrigued again and play it down the road. I do plan now on just doing an Evil Within playthrough for the channel because I enjoyed it so much more, and I can describe and talk about the things I did enjoy with the Evil Within 1. But the Evil Within 2 is just going to be avoided for now. But if you did enjoy it, tell me what you enjoyed about it. If you played it and you didn't enjoy it, tell me what you didn't like about it. And I hope that this video does something for somebody, because I'm just really depressed and irritated now because it's another franchise that I thought was going to be really big for me, and I feel like now I just have to ignore it and forget about it and just pretend there's one game. You know, it's just like with Mass Effect 3. I pretend Mass Effect 3 doesn't exist because the first two games were so wonderful. But let me know what you thought. I hope you enjoyed the video, and content will resume whenever I get around to having, you know, time to do videos. Obviously today I had time to do a video, so you guys got a video. Stop fucking calling me. Take care, everybody.